What's going on, everybody? My name is Montatui, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays. Today I'm bringing you guys my Week 3 match against Amazing Chi. His Twitter and YouTube will be in the description below. Please check them out. If you guys don't know what the PPL is, please check out the description again. I have a link to the PPL Twitter as well as the PPL YouTube. Check those out for any updates regarding the Pokemon Premier League. Like I said in the team builder, this is going to be a very tough battle. He's got a very scary roster. The 6 he brought are going to be difficult to deal with. He's got Empoleon, Mega Venusaur, Crocodile, Mesprit, Zapdos, and Archeops. That Archeops is making me nervous. He could potentially be a lead Stealth Rocking Archeops with Endeavor that could potentially deal with my Manaphy. He could potentially be Scarfed because it would outspeed my Mega Aerodactyl and one-shot it with Stone Edge, and it just deals a lot of damage to my team. The Zapdos and Venusaur are going to be so annoying. So annoying. It's going to be hard to determine the Zapdos' set, what moves it's running, what its investment is. Empoleon can be annoying as well. I can kind of predict it's going to be Shuka Berry. That's not super hard to deal with. I have an Excadrill, I have an Aerodactyl that can only hit it with Earthquake. It's probably going to be Shuka Berry, but still going to be annoying. So I have a couple ways to potentially win this. My biggest win condition is my Mega Aerodactyl. If I can weaken the Empoleon and weaken the Crocodile, my Aerodactyl just sweeps through the rest of his team. I have Crunch for Mesprit, Stone Edge kills the Archeops, Stone Edge for the Zapdos, and Aerial Ace for the Venusaur. It rips through his team. He doesn't really have a super safe switch to it. Also, Manaphy is a very big threat to his team. It sets up on the Empoleon. It can even set up on the Venusaur, like I went over in my team builder video. It sets up on the Crocodile. It sets up on the Mesprit, and it can set up on the Archeops. Really, the only thing it cannot set up on is an Empoleon with Roar and the Zapdos. I have to be at about +3 in order to not get too KO'd by that Zapdos, but I've gone on long enough here, so I'm just going to get into the battle. By the way, I apologize that I'm still a little bit sick, so my commentary may be a little off. Really not feeling super well. Here, I'm going to lead with my Tangrowth as he leads with his Archeops, and regardless of whether or not he U-turns or goes for Stealth Rocks or Taunt or whatever, I think my best play is just to go for Giga Drain because I can't really switch out on the U-turn and give him Initiative. I also don't really want to give him free rocks. So my best play is to just go for Giga Drain. Even though the Venusaur switch-in is painfully obvious, there's really not much else I can do. And as you can see, the Giga Drain does basically nothing to that Venusaur. And right here we are immediately dealing with problems turn 2 because, like I said, this Venusaur, I have nothing that can switch in that can beat it. I have my Hariyama that can take hits relatively well, but it can't deal much damage back unless he poisons me with Sludge Bomb, which I'm hoping he does here. I'm hoping he just goes for the Sludge Bomb to hit the Tangrowth, but he just goes for the knockoff, which is probably worst case scenario because I lose by Assault Vest, and the Hariyama is now not able to deal with fully special Zapdos. Can't really deal with Mesprit if it's carrying Psychic now. It's just going to be a major issue. Here I decide to go for the Stone Edge just to get a little bit of damage on it. I don't want to switch anything else in. But here, I make kind of a ballsy play, but I have to start predicting at this point. I go out into my Togetic on the potential Giga Drain, and like I said in my team builder video, I don't care what this Venusaur can do to my Togetic, it cannot knock me out. Worst case scenario, he hits me with a Sludge Bomb and poisons me, but that is fine. I will totally take that trade in order to paralyze this stupid thing. So I actually end up taking a knockoff, which is perfectly fine, and I get off the Thunder Wave. It's a little bit annoying to lose my Eviolite, but it can still wall things like Crocodile relatively well. So that's going to be totally fine with me. I don't need this Togetic necessarily this match. Here, predicting the Sludge Bomb, I go out into my Mega Aerodactyl, and this is where I start to gain momentum. He is going to go for the Sludge Bomb. Now, it does a decent chunk of damage because I'm thinking this is offensive by the damage previously on the Hariyama, but I take it just fine. And at this point, I know I can live a Giga Drain. I've done the calcs, I can hit this thing very hard with an Aerial Ace, I can 2 KO it, nothing can super safely switch in because Mega Aerodactyl has the coverage to hit everything on his team super effective. I do a massive amount of damage to the Venusaur, I take the Giga Drain, it hits me, he crits me. He crits, and kills the biggest threat to his team, and kills my major win condition. So that just, I'm gonna pause it here just for a second. That's huge. I really needed my Mega Aerodactyl. It dealt with the Zapdos, which I now have very little things to hit for. It dealt with the Mesprit. I have Crunch for that. Even if he's Colbur Berry, I could potentially deal with it later on with a knockoff from my Hariyama and then hit it with the Crunch later. My Mega Aerodactyl was super important. Granted, it would have been very weakened at that point in time, it would still have been alive, and he has no priority on his team, so he either would have needed to be something Scarfed, or yeah, pretty much just something Scarfed in order to revenge kill me. Every time something like Venusaur came in, every time something like Mesprit came in when it's weakened, I would have been able to get a kill on something. But now it's dead because of the crit, and I'm upset. Now here, I actually go out into Manaphy, because I can set up on this thing, like I said in my team builder. Whoa, that was gross. I can set up on that thing, because at +1, the Giga Drain does not 2 KO me. So I start going for Combines, and here I'm a little bit of afraid of the trick, so I just go right for the Scald. Does good damage, does about 35%, and he just goes for the T-Wave, which is totally fine, because I am a Resto Chesto Manaphy. Later on, I can just set up, and then just rest, get rid of the Paralysis, get back to full health. And I'm thinking I'm actually in a pretty good position to take this game back. He goes out into Empoleon, and I'm kind of afraid of the Roar, but I decide to go for Combine. Granted, I get paralyzed, so it doesn't matter. But here he goes Hidden Power, and I'm like, he doesn't have Roar. This is good. I can start setting up. I go for the Paralyzed. Paralyzed again. Okay. 2 Paralysis. Okay, happens. He's gonna go for another Hidden Power, but again, because I have Rest, it's totally fine. Just set up a Combine, beat this thing. 3 in a row. 3 in a row. My 2 biggest win conditions, Mega Aerodactyl, my Manaphy, are getting hacked to shit. Thankfully here, on my 4th attempt, I am able to get up 1 more Combine, putting me at +2/+2. And as you'll see here, he goes for another Hidden Power, and again, thankfully, I do not get fully paralyzed this time, and I am able to get off my Rest. And I still think I'm in a pretty good position. He doesn't have Roar, or else he would have revealed it already. Manaphy can just heal up. I'm going to eat its Chesto Berry, which I don't think he saw coming, and I can just go for the Scald. I'll eventually get the burn. Oh, well, no, I go for another Combine because I need more setup for the Zapdos. I can go for the burn, which will eventually happen. I can wear this thing down because it doesn't have recovery. I beat this thing 100%, but he has Yawn. Why does this giant metal penguin make you sleepy, Manaphy? Sorry. Anyway, Yawn was a very good move to attack on Empoleon, so good job, Chi. I think Roar would have been a little bit better because I would have gotten the guaranteed, he would have gotten the guaranteed phase out, but Sleep is also very fucking annoying. So, very good job on Chi's part planning for that, because otherwise my Manaphy just beat his entire team at this point. Unfortunately, I am going to go to sleep, and he's going to go out into Zapdos, which immediately threatens me. Now, right here, I want to see what type of Zapdos this is. I could switch out into my Excadrill, which I should have done, but I decided to stay in, take the Thunderbolt. Because I'm at +3, I think I can take it well, and I kinda do, but I also kinda don't. So it reveals to be offensive, and I'm like, okay, it's probably Scarf. So I decided to switch out into my Excadrill to take the Thunderbolt, and before I continue, I just want to talk about one more thing about why the Manaphy, I should have stayed in with Manaphy. So I wanted to keep Manaphy in because Manaphy was my second win condition. It was one of the biggest threats to his team, took on everything else bar the Zapdos, but I needed to stay in, and I needed to get off that +3 Scald. The Zapdos is too much of an issue to my team. Granted, I didn't think it would have been a super huge issue because I have this Excadrill, I have Tangrowth, I have kind of some things to deal with it, but as you guys will see later on, I should have stayed in, should have just gone for the Scald, even at the expense of my Manaphy. He's going to go for that Thunderbolt. I'm like, okay, he's probably choice, I can go for Rocks, but he is actually not. I found out after the game he is actually he's got like not base, but he's got like 116 special attack and the rest in bulk, which really just fucks with me, because here he has enough special attack investment to 2 KO me with Heat Wave even after the Heat Wave. Heat Wave after the Heat Wave. He's going to be able to 2 KO me even after the Akaberry, and because he's running Charty Berry, he takes nothing from my Rock Slide. It eats it. It's kind of physically defensive with modest 116 special attack. Rips through me. I planned for either a defensive Zapdos with a Charty Berry or an offensive Scarf one. I didn't plan for both of them, okay? I really could not. Here, however, I realize he's either going to go for a Defog or he's going to switch out, and I think this is a great opportunity to get a Rock Slide on. I missed. Now, that's really annoying, because granted, it wouldn't have done too much. I want that Zapdos weakened. I know rocks are not on the field, but as long as this Tangrowth can weaken that Zapdos, and because I am slower, I can potentially EQ on a predicted roost, I can weaken that Zapdos. And because Rock Slide did about 50%, I know Earthquake's going to do even more, and that is also really good. Because if I catch him on a couple good predictions, that Zapdos is going to go down. Here, again, Venusaur, major issue. I kind of just have to sack off my Hariyama here. Hariyama does deal nice damage to the Crocodile and the Empoleon, but Manaphy beats both of them anyway, bar the friggin' Yawn. Manaphy beats the Crocodile. What beats the Empoleon? Well, yeah, Manaphy still beats the Empoleon, but Empoleon's also at 50% health and is burned and does not have leftovers, so it'll get worn down anyway. I don't need my Hariyama as much as I need everything else. So I decide to sack off my Hariyama here. And it goes down. And here I'm actually really kind of screwed. And I will explain that in 1 second here. So, if I wake up here and get off a Psychic, it dies. If I don't wake up and he gets off a Giga Drain, I get swept. My Mega Aerodactyl's dead, can't Revenge Kill it. Hariyama just went down, Togetic can't touch it. Tangrowth can't touch it, so if I stay asleep, which as you can see here, well, Manaphy is fast asleep. If he gets fully paralyzed, then I can win. If not, then I'm going to lose, and I say can win. He gets fully paralyzed, so thank Christ. Giga Drain would have killed me. I would have gotten 6-0'd, or 5-0'd, whatever he's at right now. So thankfully, I go for the Psychic. The Venusaur goes down, and this doesn't make up for the hacks earlier, because, again, both of my win conditions got completely screwed. But, it at least gives me a fighting chance in this game, because there is still a way I can win this. The remainder of his Pokemon are Crocodile, Archeops, the Zapdos, and Empoleon. And Mesprit. Very weak in Mesprit. So, if I can get rid of the Zapdos, and I can make sure my Tangrowth is not knocked off, I can potentially win the game with my Tangrowth. It beats his Crocodile. It beats his Archeops, potentially. It beats his Empoleon, because I have the Earthquake. It's just going to be able to beat the rest of his team. Now, here, as you can see, I kind of skipped a couple turns, but here, he's in with his Crocodile, predicts the Rock Slide, goes into it. And that's totally fine, because, let me just explain this. I apologize if I'm all over the place again, I'm sick, it was a very long battle. He switches in his Tangrowth on the predicted Rock Slide, which kind of confused me at first, but I realized he really wants to knock off my Assault Vest so that Zapdos can deal with it. He is perfectly fine with sacking off his Crocodile if it means getting rid of my Assault Vest, which actually makes a lot of sense. But I see that coming, and I don't let him do that. I go right out into my Togetic, who takes the knockoff like it's nothing, and I just go for the Dazzling Gleam as he switches into his Mesprit. Now, this is not going to do too much damage, but does respectable. Here he's going to go for his rocks as I actually decide to Thunder Wave this thing, not just to slow it down for the rest of my Pokemon, but also to potentially, again, get potential pair hacks on it later on versus my Manaphy, so I can maybe set up with my Manaphy and come back. But, you guys will see how that works out later on here. I just go for the Defog. I don't want rocks on my side of the field. It's okay, he can hit me with anything. And even though I'm physically defensive without an Eviolite, Cupid eats this. Like, Jesus. Oof. I'm just making noises out of my mouth because my throat is dying. But anyway, here, I had to go for Dazzling Gleam previously because I needed damage on this to kill it with, to Revenge Kill it afterwards, but he gets fully paralyzed, so I'm actually able to roost up in the next turn on the Thunderbolt, which, again, is going to do very little damage to me. Here he decides to save his Mesprit for fodder later on, and he goes out into his Zapdos. Oh, kicked the friggin' thing. Kicked my desk. Anyway, he goes into Zapdos as I go for the Roost, and right here I have to start making plays because I am down a lot, and I'm in trouble. I know he's going to go for Heat Wave, predicting my Tangrowth, so I stay in with my Togetic, and I just go for the Dazzling Gleam, get off a little bit of damage, put him in range, potentially, of Tangrowth's Rock Slide. So here, I'm going to switch out, I'm going to go out into my Tangrowth, and once again, I am just going to go for the Rock Slide. I don't think he's going to go for the Roost yet. I do predict correctly, he goes for the Thunderbolt. I don't think he's going to go for the Roost yet, so I just go for the Rock Slide. If he goes back out into Crocodile, then that's okay, whatever, good play. Here he goes out into his Mesprit, sacking it off to my Tangrowth, which does give Tangrowth its first kill of the season, so that's pretty cool. Franklin, the Mesprit, going to go down here, as now he's going to bring out his Archeops. Now, I could have stayed in and taken one and just gone for a Giga Drain, but at this point I didn't need my Togetic for pretty much anything, so I decided that this is the time that I need to sack it off. He's going to go for an Aerial Ace here, it's going to do over half of what I had, and he's going to go for another one, and it's going to knock me out. So, it kind of sucks losing a Crocodile check, but I have other things for that later on. Here I go out into my Manaphy, and I am kind of left with one way to win, and that is if I can kill the Empoleon, which at the amount of HP it's at, I'm not going to be able to do. Even if I had gone for the Calm Mind there, a +1 Scald would not have killed even after the burn damage, so it really didn't matter what I did there. Here I know he's going to go for Yawn, but there's really nothing I can do about it. I just decided to go for the Calm Mind. If I went for Scald again, it's not going to kill this thing. Jesus Christ. Sorry, this is an awful video, I apologize. Yeah, I really just can't do much against this Empoleon. I kind of just have to go for Calm Minds and then rest when I can. But again, because he has that stupid Zapdos, I'm not going to be able to sweep. So here he's just going to go for the W on in case I switched out, good play on his part, as he's going to let his Empoleon go down. If there is any good thing that's gone on in this battle so far, Manaphy has gotten 2 kills, so he's climbing up that MVP ladder, so that's pretty cool. Video just kind of glitched out there, it'll be back in a sec, there it is. Here, so I am at +1 special defense, but I'm also asleep. I really didn't want him to go for Heat Wave, so I decided to stay in with my Manaphy and just take the Thunderbolt. Unfortunately, it is a 2-hit KO, so there's really not much I can do to beat this thing. Again, he brought the perfect Zapdos versus me, and I'll explain that a little bit later. Here, I switch out. I think he's going to go for another Thunderbolt, and I am correct, as he does go for another Thunderbolt, which I eat up. Now right here, if I click EQ, that would have been great for me, but instead I click Giga Drain. I believe if he went for a Heat Wave, I wanted to be able to give enough HP to the point where I can live one more Heat Wave, and he wouldn't know that I can live another Heat Wave. Again, I'm relying on some kind of unconventional things at this point, because I'm very down. Here he goes for the Heat Wave, and here I go for another Rock Slide, and I miss again, which sucks, because now I'm forced to sack off my Manaphy to get Regenerator, which just, it's awful. Here he's going to go for the Heat Wave. He has no reason to overpredict. He can just go for the Heat Wave. Here, there's no real point in me switching in my Tangrowth again because I'm pretty close to max HP anyway. It really doesn't matter. I pretty much lose at this point. My only way to win is if he misses 2 Heat Waves. So I'm going to go into my my Tangrowth, and he is going to go for the Heat Wave, and it connects. Still going to do under half because of my Assault Vest. And I'm going to go for the Rock Slide, and as you can see, it just does not do enough. It's not going to do enough. He's going to go for another Heat Wave, but he misses. And I'm thinking, okay, I actually have a chance here. Now, I'm going to pause the game right here. Basically, I cannot win unless he chokes. The way he would choke right now, he has not seen Earthquake. So in order to potentially be safe against my Tangrowth, the only way I could potentially win is if he goes for the Roost right now as I Earthquake. Then I have enough HP to deal with the Crocodile. I might have enough HP to deal with the Archeops as well. If I can put that thing into Fetus with the Giga Drain, I will be able to take 2, and I will be able to get some health back with Giga Drain and take a hit from Croc afterwards. What else did he have? I forget what else he had, but it also went down to Croc, I believe, or to Tangrowth, I believe. Basically, my only chance of winning is for him to go for Roost and me to go for Earthquake. So as you can see right here, that doesn't happen. He goes for Heat Wave, connects, and even though it doesn't kill me, I am not going to be able to get the kill because I did just go for an Earthquake on a flying type. That doesn't work. So, good game, Chi. We are going to take a 3-0 loss this week, and even though I kind of was salty earlier and was kind of complaining about the hacks, which did absolutely matter, the hacks I did get were definitely worse than the hacks that I put onto him, just because the hacks that went against me went against both of my win conditions, and then later on, Tangrowth, my other win condition, all 3 of my win conditions got fucked, basically. Whereas I burned the Empoleon, okay, that thing was going down anyway. I have a Hariyama for it, I have a Calm Mind Manatee for it. It wasn't a super huge deal. The Yawn was nice, but he didn't need to. Obviously, I crit burned him and the Yawn still worked perfectly fine, so it didn't really matter. The paralysis on the Venusaur, again, I wouldn't have needed that paralysis if the stupid things earlier happened, and again, that paralysis only took out one of his win conditions when he still had Zapdos in the back and the Scarfed Archeops, which I did find out later was Scarfed. So again, I have been complaining about hacks, but absolutely no discredit to Chi whatsoever. He played very well, he prepped beautifully. The Zapdos set was running 116 special attack with a modest nature, and then the rest in bulk. That completely threw me off. That completely beat my team. The offensive Venusaur, if that was a defensive Venusaur, the crit actually would not have killed me. I don't think I would have been able to 2-hit KO it, but it still mattered. So good played there. Yeah, just again, excellent prep, Chi. You did a very good job, and don't let my complaining of the hacks take away from your victory, because you did win. You won, I guess, as fairly as you could. You couldn't really help the hacks. And this is Pokemon. Bad luck and hacks are going to happen, you know? The only thing we can do, and the only thing we can take away with this, is motivation for our next match, which is going to be against Jardinez, who is a very scary team. We got to be on top of our game for that. So, I kind of need to get some rest because my nose is like Niagara Falls of boogers right now, but thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please check out next week when we take on the Southampton Sneasels, coached by Jardinez, and thank you guys very much. See you in the next one.